What's up, guys? It is Chris back with another watch video, and today I have a new brand to show you. It is called ROSCHENBOLD, right there, ROSCHENBOLD. And they are a Chinese manufacturer of watches, but they do something a little bit different, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about in just a second. So it comes in a canvas outer bag. Inside you get a really nice, very well made actually, canvas travel pouch. So this is actually unsigned also, so it doesn't say the name of the brand on the outside. I believe it says it on the inside. Let's double check that though. And you have leather accents, sort of like a natural leather accent, and then yeah, it is signed right there, the brand name. There's like a felt, it's padded. This is a really nice pouch, and then it just gives you the certificate of authenticity there. And then there's a little flap that folds over. You could put two watches in here and a bunch of other stuff on this side if you wanted to. And here is the watch. So the watch comes just like this. This one does not come with an extra strap. I believe that they currently are offering a special on this watch that you get it with an extra strap now. However, it does come with this exact same packaging. Now this packaging is really high end. It's very, very nice. Something a little bit different from the normal everyday travel pouch that we are seeing. So here is the watch. You can see that they took a lot of inspiration from brands like Breguet and maybe A. Lange & Söhne. You could see in the dial you have a grand date, so that is definitely something that a lot of watches don't usually do. A lot of micro brands don't usually have, and that's because of the movement. We're going to get into that in just a second. You also have the day, so the day of the week, and then the month as well. So grand date and those two together obviously give you a calendar function, which is really nice, and that's why this is actually called the calendar. 41.5 millimeters is what I measured. They had 42 millimeters on their website. 15 millimeters thick, just over 15 millimeters thick, including that dome sapphire crystal. It's like 15.3 millimeters thick. And then the lug to lug is 51 millimeters lug to lug. You get a cav leather strap on here. This is the blue dial version, so you get sort of a brushed blue dial version. It's a light blue, dark blue, depending on the light. It really does change a little bit with the light, and it looks really good. Sort of a curved or a rolled bezel on here, which is polished. The entire case is polished except for the coined sides of the actual case, which go all the way around, and that sort of lends to it being a little bit muted than your normal fully polished case, which is nice. Quick release on the strap, so those screws right there actually don't do anything. You have a screwed-in case back, screwed-in crown. The screwed-in crown is signed. However, you do only get 50 meters of water resistance, which isn't that great, but it isn't bad, and I like that they have a screwed-in crown, but I would have liked to see 100 meters of water resistance rather than 50. And like I said, the dial is pretty simply laid out. You have the two registers at the bottom, and then you have that grand date there at the top. There are pushers on the side of the case, and that is really it. This is a $445 watch. Now, this packaging came with one strap. I believe the packaging currently, if you were to buy it, comes with two straps at that price, and that's what the price is, $445. It's on sale right now. I think they sell it for $495 normally. And that's actually pretty good considering that you're getting a really good looking watch in very nice packaging. The packaging that it comes in is actually very nice, and I really like the movement that they've actually put in this watch. Now, obviously, it's an automatic movement. It's obviously a Chinese movement. It's a Seagull movement. It's the ST2527. It's regulated to plus or minus 10 seconds per day, which is pretty good. But that's not all. They've actually decorated the entire movement. So the bridges are decorated, the rotor is decorated, and it looks pretty good. I really have to say the movement actually looks really good on this watch. If you had an NH35 in the back of this watch, it would not be good looking. So I would actually prefer this over an NH35 any day. I think this looks good. The case back is just polished, as I mentioned. It has screws, and then there is just the number out of 50 that this is. So this is a limited edition of 50. The buckle is sort of a generic sort of buckle that you see on a lot of micro brands. It is signed, however it works. Nothing too crazy that's going to blow your mind, but Like I said, it does work. It's a double deployment butterfly clasp, which feels pretty nice and like I said, kind of generic. But that movement is pretty cool, and I really do like what they did with that. Very quickly, I'm going to throw it on my wrist, and then we will wrap up the video because there is no lume on the dial because this is obviously a dress watch. So I will show you this watch on my 7.5 inch wrist. Before I do, today I am wearing my Eterna. This is my Eterna Royal Kontiki. This is sort of their third level of Kontiki. There's the Kontiki Diver, then they have the Super Kontiki, and then they have the Royal Kontiki, and that's their sort of integrated bracelet version of the Kontiki. It came out in the 70s. This is, obviously their most modern iteration of it. They no longer make them. In-house movement, GMT central to the center of the dial, so that you can see that track that's going around the middle of the dial. I think this is just a really good looking watch. In-house movement, just a beautiful movement as well. Really cool. I really like this watch a lot. You can see the movement there. So here is the ROSCHENBOLD on my wrist. This is called the Calendar, and they say it in Latin, so I won't even try that. And here it is on my 7.5 inch wrist. You can see this is a 41.5 millimeter watch. It has a 15 millimeter thickness with a 51 millimeter lug to lug. I have a 7.5 inch wrist, as I mentioned, so it doesn't wear huge on my wrist. I think it wears pretty nicely. That lug to lug definitely does fit me. If you have a smaller wrist, and I'm saying under 7 inches, you might have a little bit of a problem with the thickness and maybe the lug to lug. It really is up to the person who likes that sort of thing. If you like a larger watch, it definitely will wear larger. You can see the hands on here are sword hands. And that second hand just meets the track. The outer track is sort of like a silver outer minute track. And you have those polished sword hands and sword hands on the subdials as well. Everything really does pop on this watch a lot. You can see that blue pops a lot, and the case is really interesting. So it's a very good looking watch. $445 is on the more expensive side, but for this, and like I said, you do get an extra strap with them now. I did not get an extra strap, so you get an extra strap with that package. With considering the package and how nice the packaging is, $445 isn't really that bad, and considering also that there are a lot of watches out there with NH35s that are sort of plain to look at, this gets a sapphire crystal on the front and back, and you do get to look at that movement, and honestly, that movement is really good looking. Seagull in general have been making very good looking movements. They're good to look at, with the naked eye. I will do close-ups of this movement. Obviously, it's not going to hold to the standard of what Etta is putting out or even Miyota. However, that's not really the point. I think it's more for the person who owns it to turn over the watch and look at the movement and have a nicely decorated movement that maybe won't hold up under extreme scrutiny, but it's really nice to look at. And Seagull do make somewhat reliable movements. Now, some people will say that's not true. Under my experience, I've had watches with the ST19, plenty of watches with the ST19, and they've always been pretty reliable. So $445, considering the package and the movement, I kind of like this, and I really love that it has a big date, which is not very common for a micro brand. And you can see it does wear pretty much as a 42 millimeter watch on my wrist. That's definitely where it is, not a 41 millimeter. Definitely wears like a 42 millimeter. But tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I think this is a really interesting concept. I really like the watch. I really like the packaging. Overall, it feels like a little bit more of a premium product than it actually cost at $445. I like it, but tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I would definitely add more water resistance if you're going to screw in the crown. Otherwise, just don't have a screw-in crown, because if it's 50 meters of water resistance, I don't think I need that screwed-in crown. It just it's a little bit more that I have to do when I want to wind the watch or set the time. You could still achieve the 50 meters of water resistance without screwing in the crown, so I'd prefer an unscrewed-in crown. If you're going to screw in the crown, make it at least 100 meters of water resistance, so it's something that you could use a little bit more in the water. Beautiful strap, not something that you're going to go get wet anyway, but like I said, that's one of the gripes that I would have with this watch. And also the thickness, I think it's a tad thick. Anyway, tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Please also don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel. I very much appreciate it. Please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Amazon. If you click those links and buy anything, it helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. However, I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.